Hello, hello, everybody. So I think, I thought it was a little more stable, maybe a little bit more stable after the reboot there. Let's see how that goes. All right. That's decent, not great, but decent. All right, is anybody around? Sector Fox says hi. All right, aren't you going out? All right. No. Can you close the door, please? You can come wave. Say hi. Okay. Are you going out? Wave, say hi.
Hi.
Say this is a test.
It is?
Well, we're testing to see if the internet's any better right now. I was having internet trouble earlier. So if they can see you, it means the internet's working good. Do you see yourself up there?
Yep. Why is there two screens?
Yeah, well, this one's my control screen, and this one's my view of what's showing.
Why is there many screens?
Because... All right, so I think this will probably work for us here then. Sorry about that trouble. And I did get a chance to make some more coffee, but it's still brewing, so I cannot hydrate yet. But I'll get back to all those hydrations, don't you worry. I will be sure to honor all of those. So we did our label, and we did our button. Okay, and our button has this on action. That's all we need to do here. Now we need to save. So I like Control S for save, or you can go File Save. I've heard coffee's anti-hydration, but I'm going to count it anyway. It's soup, right? It's water filtered through beans, right? It's basically soup. How can that not be hydrating? You just happen to get some coffee or some caffeine that is a diuretic, right? I mean, if I'm thirsty, I just drink more coffee. It's clearly the correct solution there. All right, so we got all those tools. We finished that out. Now we get the really cool magic part. And this is my favorite part of using JavaFX. It is broth, right? So like what is it? A soybean vanilla latte is technically a 3-bean soup, right? So you can order 3-bean soup at your coffee shop next time you go. All right, so I'm going to go over to my Fxml file, and I'm going to right-click it. Now, this is why I'm a big fan of JavaFX, because it will do this connection stuff for me automatically. We use Scene Builder, we set it all up, and if we look at the Fxml file, notice it added some stuff here. So it added a couple things. Don't worry about the red. It'll go away in a minute. So we see that anchor pane, we have a text label, we have a location, this is X and Y, we have a font, we have size, more locations, these sorts of things. Those are all cool. So you could just type this in by hand, or we could use Scene Builder. I mean, we're all going to die at some point, Sector Fox. I don't think my caffeine headache or caffeine addiction will kill me now. So I'm going to right-click the Fxml file and say Make Controller. What that does is it populates my controller file with all the things I did. So it adds all the imports I need. It adds the text label. Remember we gave that text label a name? Or the label a name, we called it text label. So it adds that to my code for me. So it's an instance variable of the class controller. Right? This is the controller we wrote. We don't really use this initialize very much. Don't worry too much about that. But now you'll also see this button click. Remember we went to this action and said, hey, when I click my button, I want to do button click. What that means is when you click the button, this method will run here. So this is where we put all of the code that we want to have happen when that button gets clicked. This is our event handler. Remember, we're setting up the user interface, and we're just sitting waiting for the user to do something. So we're no longer this procedurally driven code that just goes line by line by line by line. We're now event driven. We need to respond to events from the user. So we're driven by the user interaction, and they interact with us with events. And every time they do something, right, it triggers an event, and we have to figure out how to handle that event. So this is an event handler, this button click. It takes an event object, so we can get some information about it. We're not going to do that yet. We'll get to that next chapter. But for now, what do we want to do? Well, I want to take that label, that text label, and I want to use the setText method to set the text to hello world. So when you click the button, I'm going to change the text to hello world. That's all we're going to do. It's a really boring application, but we want to see, can we get a hello world going with JavaFX? Bean broth. You know, I actually do like split pea soup, black bean soup. I like all sorts of soups. So fits well that I drink coffee soup. All right, it's thinking hard about it. Come on. Hopefully we got all the right actions, all of the right things here. It thinks it's running. Maybe. Oh, I forgot something. I'm sorry. I missed a line. Oops. So in main, I missed a line. To actually get the whole thing to go, we need to say launch with the args. You call launch here. That's right. Once we launch, it will do all these cool things. Eventually start will get called. Let's try that one more time. I kept wondering, like, why? It says it's running. It didn't do anything. Again, this is all like copy paste, essentially. We take this and we're just going to copy paste it in. Here we go. Here's a GUI. And we see GUI is our title. We did this set title down here. We copy pasted in. You can change that. It doesn't have to be GUI. I think that's funny. And it reminds me of the Dr. Seuss book, Fox in Socks, which is like my all-time favorite book to read my kids. I had most of it memorized at one point, and they got sick of it, and I didn't have to read it every night. So it's been a little while. Anyway, so it just sits here. Right? The application's running. It's sitting going. It's just waiting for us to give it an event to respond to. So when we click the button, we get, oh dear, it's a little bit large. Hello world. I think we're a little off center, but there we go. So this is our hello world application. We can go change that, right? We can. So it's kind of hard to find the label because there's no text there. Like to click around, you're not really going to get that anywhere. So when you come over to the document, you can click on the label here, and then we can move that over if we want. Oops, come on. Label. I don't want any of the resizing tools. Nope, that was wrong. Come on, show me the label. Sure. Let's try that. Give that a save. And run it again. Now I don't have to remake the controller because I haven't added any elements. All of the details in the Fxml file get pulled in automatically. There we go. Because it loads the Fxml file over here, which is cool. Okay, there's a size. Yep. So these are all properties here, and we can set this all by hand if we wanted, which is fun, but we don't need to. Okay, so there's our first Hello World project using JavaFX. Again, lots of steps, but it's okay. We'll get there, right? We mostly copy paste this in. Set the libraries, add the VM options, add the module path, right? Copy paste in your start. This Fxml will change if you didn't name it Fxml, which is okay. You can do that. So the way that Fxml works is it uses kind of the analogy of a play. So a play has a stage. Right? When you go to a play, there's a stage there, and then there's different scenes that happen. So what you can do is you can change the scene that the stage is showing. So like stage set scene sets this scene to be the one we're going to show. So later, like next chapter, we'll get into how do we change scenes. We're not going to do a whole lot of that this semester. Next semester, we'll get more into changing scenes and having multi-scene applications and things. For now, pretty much everything can happen on the one scene. It's not too big of a deal for us. And the scene then is made up of components. So for us, we're saying, hey, the thing we're made up of is this Fxml page. This is the root of our scene. Right? That's the main part of the scene. And now this Fxml file has a bunch of other stuff, has a bunch of components. So you have container components that can hold other pieces, and then you have nodes. So like a label is a node because it doesn't have any children. A button is a node, it doesn't have any children. But you can put containers inside of containers, inside of containers, inside of containers, and do this cool nesting process there to add items. We can do all that. Okay. How you folks feeling so far? Those of you who made it through the Wi-Fi trouble. I think I hit start on my coffee pot. Oh, I'm going to be really sad if I forgot to hit start now. I think I hit start. I can't smell it yet, but that's okay. Because I do need to hydrate more. Okay, so I know we got to go try it here and give it a shot and see how it works. But that's sort of the gist of our basic project. Couple steps, right? And once you've done the couple steps, we'll do them again for every project. Awesome. Right, questions about the Bigint project before we change gears? How's that going? I know I was getting a bunch of questions over the weekend, Friday, Saturday. I was like, you know what? It's probably a bad idea to make this due Monday, so I pushed that out. And I don't think very many people submitted yet. And that's okay, right? Take the time, get it in Wednesday before class. Yeah, no submissions yet. So, yeah, do the 7th at 10 a.m. How do you return an instance? So, in your project 4, I think I've got that over here. This little starter code here. In my case, I'm just returning a new one that's empty. You don't want that, right? You want to, right? So your needs a string value. Sure, we could do that. You could make other constructors if needed. So you can make the big int, and then later you just return it. So if you want, you could have like the starter big int new result equals a big int. And maybe you want a no argument constructor. You could have a no argument constructor, big int, right? To make an empty. Big int. Right, so this will, oh, I'm sorry, new big int. And when you're done, you can return that new result. So like add your digits to the new result. Right, if you wanted to go about it that route, you could, for sure. Or you could just make the string, right, to figure out what that string result is going to be, if you add those together, and then hand that string to your string constructor, if you wanted. Right, like if we were going to take like 1, 2, 3 minus 45 or something, right? Well, we'd have to do a little borrowing, so you get 13 minus 5 is 8, and then, oops, need another comment. And then 1 minus 4 we can't do, so we got to borrow. So 11 minus 4 should be 7, 78. And we could make this into a string if you wanted, and hand that over if you wanted. ToString is representing the big int as a nicely formatted string with the 1000 separator. So if I want to turn the big integer into a string, the ToString method should do that. It should add in the commas, add in the negative sign if needed. Yeah, there's a couple ways you can do this. The string builder is probably your friend for this one. You don't want to have to do string concatenation because that's bad. And string builder lets you do fun stuff. Or if you have a string builder equals a new string builder. Oh my goodness, I can't capitalize the right way. This had some cool string builder. Oh, BuildBuilder. Can't type string builder dot. Or it's got some cool, so you can append stuff to the end, but you can also insert at indexes if you wanted. No, not right now. So we could insert at a particular index if you wanted. I mean, that might be fun. So you could always add to the front or something. You got lots of options. Okay. Why is this one? Oh, semicolon. There we go. Oh, come on, friend. Am I losing it again? I lost the internet. Okay. Today's just not the day for streaming, apparently. Thank you, Comcast. It's not even raining, right? Like, there's no rain going on that would mess with it. All right, sorry for that internet trouble. Let me see. Sometimes they'll like say if they have an outage in the app here. I don't know what it's doing. Oh, I don't know. Here's my network. Test speed to the gateway. Oh, here we go. That now has how it checks for outages. No outages detected. My home is online. It is raining? Oh yeah, it is raining a little bit out my window. Huh. Didn't sound like it. Look at that. Testing my speed. It says I got super fast speed to the gateway. Maybe it's my Wi-Fi, just my laptop, up and running. Test speed to this device. There we go. Maybe it should, yes, I should put it on the Wi-Fi. Let's try it. Why not? Let's do that. Speedtest.xfinity.com. Start the test. Let's see what we got here. It's decent download speeds. What if it's just an upload problem? Or like 2 megabits should not be heavy upload issues that I'm trying to do with OBS. Just trying to keep it 2 megabit up. Show more. Upload, there we go. You have to try. It says I'm getting good upload speeds. That's funny. That is funny. Is that suspicious? It says I'm getting 6. Don't know if I believe it. But OBS begs to differ. Oh, look, now it's behaving. I just had to speed test it. That's not suspicious at all. All right, it's one of those days. Happy Monday. Nope. All over the place. You know, I feel like rain still does affect the internet, but maybe it is just a 20-year-old thing. I don't know. It probably does. Let's Google that. Does rain affect internet speed? Let's see what the internet web says. Shouldn't impact it. Okay, large storms, sure. No satellite dish, no. No, I've got a coax cable running into my house. Does rain affect Wi-Fi? I mean, it's not raining inside my house. All right. I'm still going to blame Comcast anyway, because usually this is stable. And it's just rebooted my laptop this morning. All right, what does it say? What does it say about my internet? How are we doing internets? Ooh, it's on the 2.4 band here. It's a decent link speed, right? Decent link speed. Sure, why not? All right, other questions about Bigint? We good here? All right. We're okay? Cool. Let's talk about your final project. I want to get you the month to do this one like I promised. We'll have all of April to work on it. And what was that? Oh, bummer. Hang on. I gotta go find our last day of class. Gotta find it there. All right, this is our bad adventure game. Where's our class syllabus? I'll find that last day of class. There we go. Okay, 5/3. Perfect. So May 3rd. So we get just shy of a month there. May 3rd. May 3rd, 10 a.m. Okay. Here we go. We need a new final project score. And what do we say? How much was this one going to be worth? 25 points or so. Okay. I can't click in that box. I hate D2L sometimes. Let's try that again. Okay. Again, so you may work in pairs if you want, okay, but you don't have to. So we're going to build a pretend adventure game with a graphical user interface. We're not going to actually build any two-dimensional maze. It would be fun if we wanted to or not. But the idea is we're going to pretend the user's in a maze. Remember we did this with our files here. And we said, hey, give us a command. We'll just say there's a 25% chance of there being a wall, either up, down, left, or right. So put a wall at one of those directions. If you do a 25% chance of wall for every direction, right, there's a 25% times 25% times 25% times 25%. So a fourth, a 16th, a two. There's a very small chance that all of the directions would have a wall. And you don't want that. Okay? So just one of the directions, up, down, left, right, will have a wall. And it could just be the direction they came from, and that's okay. We're not going to feel bad about that. We're just going to go with it. Okay? So we're going to build some classes for use here. So we're going to have a player character. Our player characters start with 20 hit points. They have strength, dexterity, and intelligence. We don't need tons of stats here. We also need a total number of gold. Okay? Oh, sorry, my phone is beeping at me here. Let's see. Should make that quiet. There. All right, cool. Okay, so we're going to write a class for player character that has some stats. So 3 rolls of a 6-sided die does not mean a random number 3 to 18. It means a random number 1 to 6 3 times. And yes, that is different. Go talk to your math teacher. Okay, you'll get different results with that. So it's not random 3 to 18. It's random 1 to 6 3 times. Okay, so the idea is we get to move from room to room to room to kind of adventure in this dungeon. It's a little dungeon crawler. Now, it's not a great dungeon crawler, but that's okay. So what happens is there's a 1/3 chance of encountering a monster to fight or run away from. If there is no monster, you can search the room for gold or you can sleep. So if there's a monster, we're going to pick a number 1 to 6, and then we're going to multiply that number for all of their stats. So like a number 6 is the hard monster, a number 1 is the easy monster. And they get strength, dexterity, and intelligence based on whatever that number is there. So the number 6 is always a harder monster, right? The number 1 is always an easier monster, and on and on and on. Okay? If you search the room, you're going to roll, quote, roll a 20-sided die. If you get less than your intelligence, just assume you find some random amount of gold. Either pick a random amount or hard-code it in any way you want to do here so we can find some gold. That'll add to our total gold. If you fight, you roll a 20-sided die, pick a random number 1 to 20. If you get better than or equal to the monster's dexterity, you hit the monster. We deal damage of our strength divided by 3 here in damage. Okay, so we're going to do at least 1 point of damage, right? Because at least 3 divided by 3 here. All right, after we attack, if the monster is alive, so it can attack us. Same rules, but in reverse, and it's going to do at least 1 point of damage. So not all monsters will have a strength of greater than 3, but it needs to do at least 1 point of damage to us if it hits. Okay, with its 20-sided die, greater than or equal to our dexterity. We could run away. If we choose to run away, it gets to make 1 attack at us if it sees us. So we walk into the room, we see a monster, maybe we want to run away from it, rolls a 20-sided die. If it's less than an intelligence, we'll assume it saw us, and then it gets to make an attack and hit us. If we sleep, we regain all of our hit points, but there's a 1 in 6 chance that a monster finds us while we're sleeping and gets to attack us. So when we try sleep, there's a chance a monster shows up and gets to attack us, and we have to fight the monster or run away from it. Okay, and the game just runs forever or until the player dies. So we just got to keep exploring rooms, see how much gold we can accumulate, fighting monsters, sleeping to get our hit points back, fighting more monsters, over and over and over and over. So the monsters are relatively easy to defeat because they only have up to 6 hit points. So we can usually take them out with a hit or two, depending on your strength. Okay, so we're going to try and design this with an object-oriented approach. We'll have classes for these things that represent values, and we'll display the information about them in our graphical user interface. We'll have buttons, right, for searching, for sleeping, for fighting, that sort of thing. And then we'll keep a log of information on the screen for, hey, what's happening during our adventure, kind of like our adventure log. Okay, so we close out that one here. and just look at a couple things we might need then. And again, we'll look at some more of these after. Let me start up a new project. I'll leave the GUI Hello World as a nice little example here. This is GUI Examples Part 1. Why not? Okay, so our GUI examples, right? We need to do a couple things. We're going to add the JavaFX library. Okay, we're going to just copy pasting from here. Add this to our VM options here. So GUI example part 1, go to properties, go to run VM options, paste that in, and you're going to go to libraries, run module path. We're going to add that library to the module path. Okay, so we got those settings. We should be good there. And then we're just going to, we can pretty much copy paste this in. So we'll replace main. And yes, we want to add all those imports. And then we extends application. And it says which one. We want the JavaFX application. There we go. All right, those ones look good. Okay, and then let's add a new empty Fxml file. Sure, we'll just call it Fxml for now. Yes, we want the controller. Okay, so I can shrink up libraries there. There we go. And then I'm going to open this here, right, with Scene Builder, and close out the other one. Uh-oh, did I close the wrong one? That's all right. I'll try it again. Open with Scene Builder. It's not so bad. Just a couple settings to get up and running. So what we're going to want, we're going to need a container. These are layouts often. It lets us put different values in different locations. So I'm fond of the border pane layout. I think border pane is pretty cool. And what the border pane layout gives you is a top, a bottom, a left, a right, and a center. And that works out pretty well for all the things I want to do, because I might add some buttons, right? Maybe I'll go find some buttons. So once you open up border pane, you can see top, left, center, right, bottom, those sort of things here. So I'm going to put some buttons here. But the funny thing is, you can only put one thing inside of each of these. So if I try and add a button to the bottom and add another button, oops, where's my button? Button, come back. Button. If I try and add another one, it's a button inside of a button. That's not really what you want. So that's not ideal. So I'm just going to get rid of it. Just trash it. Just trash it. So what you want to do, instead of just adding a button directly, no custom button, get rid of that. Delete you. That's fine. We can add these other options. Oh man, that's getting small here. We want a horizontal box. And a horizontal box is a container that is going to put things horizontally. So now in the horizontal box, I can add buttons here, as many as I want, because the box is a container. It's this idea that there's a container inside of a container, which eventually has those nodes. So we can lay these out, all sorts of different ways if we wanted. So sure, put a bunch of buttons in, that's fine. And then there's this cool text area. I'm going to take text area, I'm going to drop that right in the center here. And this is where I'm going to put all of my information here. And then maybe we'll just put some labels. We'll put a label at the top, maybe a label at the left, and maybe a label at the right. Okay, so I'm put some labels around. I can put some information there, right? Like you might have on your left side, maybe this is like your PC stats. Like maybe on the right side might be your NPC stats, your non-player character. And maybe something at the top might be, I don't know, what some other sort of information. Information goes here, that sort of thing. Sure. So in your text area, right, we need to make sure it has an FX ID so we can interact with it in code. So that's our text area. Right, again, all of our stats. So this is like our PC stats label. Label, sure. And you get the idea. We can go and name all these things. That way when I click a button, I can do something with it. So let's say this is, I don't know, first button. Okay, give that a save. I'll come back and make a controller out of this. So then in the controller code, we get anything we gave an ID, right, shows up here. And then all of our event handlers show up here. So I could do something with that text area. I think it's append text. We'll just say clicked. Okay, so when you click the button, we're going to append clicked. So, you know, you can put text in there that like tells what happened, what action happened. You searched the room, you ran away, you attacked the monster, that sort of thing. But when I click the button, we get click, 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 click. Oh, probably want some new lines in there, don't we? How about a new line? Try that again. Let's see if that works for us. There, now they're going down. And a text area, look at that. The text area even gives me an automatic scroll bar. How smart is that? I didn't even have to do anything there. It just showed up. Okay, again, the other buttons didn't do anything. I didn't hook up event handlers to them yet. But we can talk more about that when we get more into graphical user interface applications. Okay, how you folks feeling so far? Got a little starter. We got our final project shell here, and can add some points to it if you want it. We can do a little rubric. Let's add a rubric. So this is the final project. Take out some of these, take out some of these. This is complete and missing. Okay, so first portion here is that we have like north, east, south, west options that we can go, and with one of them being blocked each turn, right? Just randomly pick a direction that you can't go. Okay, it doesn't have to make sense. If you want to make it make sense, great, more power to you. But if you just want to pick a random one, that's perfectly fine. So 5 points for just being able to travel around. Okay, you got a little GUI application, you can travel it around to new rooms. Nothing else has to work for those 5 points. Okay, 5 points for your player character. That they get 3d6, 3 rolls of a 6-sided die for strength, dexterity, and intelligence, 20 hit points, and tracking for total gold. You write a player character class. Okay, go for it. You get 5 points for your room encounter, right? Where there's a 1 in 3 chance of finding an NPC, you can search the room, find some gold. You can sleep in the room, and you have a random chance of getting a new monster showing up, a new NPC showing up. Okay, non-player characters, 5 points for them. Okay, with random 1 to 6 for hit points, 2 times that for strength, dexterity, and intelligence. And then the fighting. 5 points for fighting, that they can fight each other. That's the 25 points. That's our final project, but hopefully it's a little game we can play and just kind of wander around this dungeon, smack stuff, and see how much gold we get. Okay? That's the gist of it. We attach that rubric, we get all of our points. Alright, chat's been real quiet lately. I'm hoping that means everything makes sense. If not, we can go from there. So we hit save. Okay. Or you still are working on project 4, thinking about 4. That's okay still. We got some time for this, but don't let this fall to the very end, right? I know you have other classes and final exams or other projects for the other classes, so don't leave this until just before it's due. Okay? You can get it done early if you want, right? That'll be great. Again, we're going to plan on presenting, getting on a little Zoom call on May 3rd and showing off our game to everyone else. So we get a chance to open up your game and play it, and everyone gets a chance to see what yours looks like, how it worked, and we're probably not going to see how much gold you can collect total, but, you know, that sort of thing. Okay? So we will present Zoom on May 3rd at 10 a.m. Game to the rest of the class. If you can't make it synchronously, honestly, please arrange to present to me another time. Oh, now it's really raining. Now I can really hear it. Yeah. Nice. My backyard's going to flood. They're doing some development work around my house in the back where it used to be real swampy, and they just brought in tons of dirt. So now the water just pools in my backyard. And it used to pool in the backyard, but it's gotten worse now, even with the retention pond they put in. All right. Questions, thoughts, concerns? We've got more GUI from Chapter 12 coming up on Wednesday, along with Project 4, the solution. And then we'll pick up Chapter 13 the week after that, some miscellaneous topics. 2 classes dedicated just to final project work time, which means I'm not streaming anything. I'm just hanging out. I can answer questions, hop on calls on Discord or Zoom with you folks. And go to study group, folks. Monday and Wednesday, right after class, 12 to 1 with our amazing SI. You can go to study group and chat about this stuff, do some extra exercises, practice things, work on any topics you want. Remember, we don't have a final exam, so we have this final project, which counts for 25% of your overall score in the course for this final project. And then if you did poorly on one of the individual projects, I'll take your score for the final project and replace it in your worst scoring individual project. So it can be worth even more, right? Assuming you do well on it. And I want everyone to do well. I want you to have a game at the end of this that at least is interesting enough to click around in, okay? And not too bad for your first programming class ever. For unit testing, we talked about that with classes. So that was all of the week 10 stuff, 315 and 317. Yep. So what you'll do, right, with your project, I don't think, did I add a test? I did. So like, how do we do some of these things? So like, add 2 positives. Like if my constructor is a Bigint first equals a new Bigint, if I can give it a string, like, oops, 1, 2, 3, right, and then a Bigint second is a new Bigint given like 2, 3, 4, or something. If I were to take first dot add the second, a Bigint result. Right, we can assign back whatever we get from that add action we get here, and then result dot toString result. Right, should be I don't know. This is my string. I don't give it a name here. Value. Right, toString. We can assert not equals array. Sorry, equals. That's, there we go, actual value. What should I get out? I should get, what, 3, 5, 7? And the actual value? Assert equal. Goodness. There. Something like that, right? Yeah, it's, you can find it on YouTube, or you can find the Twitch VOD as well. I think those ones are still around. The Twitch VOD stay for about 45 days. But it's all archived out on YouTube, and you can find all of that in Content Lecture Archive. I don't know if you folks have noticed, but I've been putting all of the YouTube links here in the lecture archive. My classes part 1, part 2. It'll be one of those. Dusty thinks it's the first one. Can I copy the link? Copy link. Oh, no, that's a view. That's a terrible. I have to click it. Can I get Twitch Inception and start watching my old video? There, copy that link. There. That looks like the first one there. Okay. All right, yeah, so they'll be all out here. Oh, did I miss? Oh, you have to click load more. That's right. That's obnoxious. There's inheritance. Did I not have inheritance part 1 last week? 29th? I missed it. Uh-oh. I'm sorry, folks. I missed that one. Let's go find it. Huh. It's not automatic, so it is it's possible I screw these things up. So that would have been the 29th, right? 2021, 03, 29. Inheritance part 1. On the 29th, 1500. This one? Yeah, inheritance part 1. There we go. Look at that. We fixed it. You just rearrange those now. Load more. Yeah, sorry about that. They should all be out on YouTube as well. And I think I add them to playlists if I... Oh, I didn't remember. I usually add them to playlists. Cool. Yeah, thanks for asking. Okay. So we'll call that a day. Don't forget, get started early. Plan what you're going to be doing for this, right? And don't forget to finish up Project 4 coming up on Wednesday. So we'll spend most of the time Wednesday doing the solution there, and we'll go over the rest of the Chapter 12 examples for graphical user interface applications. I think the project probably takes maybe half an hour for me to write. Shouldn't be too bad. And we'll have a lot of time to work on GUI stuff still. Okay? All right, if you folks don't have anything else, we'll go send a raid off somewhere, call it a day. I think we're still on for the SI session. I got an email from Tim. Says he had something come up this morning, but he should be fine for it. So let me know. I'm going to take my daughter to get her COVID shot. I'm super excited for that. So I got to drive out to Troy, though, was the one I found. Let's see. It's math. We already did math. Okay, not a lot of interesting stuff happening right now for us to go raid. Yeah, I got to finish grading all those quizzes. I'm sorry. I'm working on those. I got 10 of the midterms done. I've got to get the other 10 done. We'll work on that today. Get those back to you, and then I'll get back to the projects. Okay? All right, nobody interesting to raid at the moment that I saw, unless you folks have any suggestions. And we can go from there. We commit all this code to GitHub here. Let's see, 1500. There we go. GUI, GUI, GUI. All right, that should all be out there. Again, just go copy paste, right? You don't have to remember to do any of this stuff. Just we'll get it all on a main, do the steps, and you should be good to go. All right, folks, call it a day. Take care. Study group at noon, unless you hear otherwise, and we'll go from there. I've got office hours this afternoon. If you have questions, if there's anything I can do to get you moving on that project, let me know if you get stuck. If not, I'll see you Wednesday. Take care.